My father called me lazy every single day for 11 years. A stranger in a waiting room figured out the truth in 4 minutes. I was 6 the first time it happened. We were at dinner and Dad asked me to pass the salt. I didn't move. He slammed his hand on the table. Are you deaf? I said pass the salt. I passed it without a word. I genuinely hadn't heard him say anything. That became the pattern. Dad would call my name from another room. I wouldn't answer. He'd find me in my bedroom already furious. You heard me. You're just too lazy to respond. I'd cry and say I didn't hear him. He'd take something away. A book, a weekend, my bicycle. Mom never argued. She'd find me later and whisper, try harder to pay attention, sweetheart. You know how he gets. By 2nd grade, my teacher called my parents in. I sat outside the door and caught pieces through the wall. She doesn't respond when called. She seems to be somewhere else entirely. Dad's voice came back. We deal with the same thing at home. We're working on it. He never mentioned testing. He never asked the teacher a single question. On the drive home, he told me my teacher agreed I wasn't trying hard enough. I believed him. In 5th grade, I failed a spelling test I'd studied for all week. Dad held the paper up and looked at it the way you look at a cracked windshield. I don't know what to do with you. He walked out of the room. That silence was worse than all the yelling combined. By middle school, I had started reading lips without knowing it. I'd catch half of what a teacher said and piece the rest together. I'd answer wrong and watch the class exchange looks. I told myself I was just bad at school. I stopped raising my hand. I stopped asking for help. At family dinners, I misheard constantly. Responded to questions nobody had asked me. My grandmother once looked across the table and asked if I was all there. Dad laughed. I smiled because crying would only make it worse. By 16, I stopped talking at family dinners altogether. Last month, I took my 8-year-old cousin to his pediatric checkup while his mother handled a work emergency. We sat in the waiting room for 40 minutes. The nurse came out and called his name twice. He didn't look up. I nudged him and he went in. Afterward, the doctor, a quiet woman named Dr. Reyes, watched me for a moment and said, does he often not respond when called? He zones out, I said. She tilted her head. What about you? Do you prefer texts to phone calls? Do you always sit near the front? Do you ask people to repeat themselves and then just give up and nod? I said yes to all of it without thinking. She had a basic audio screener in the office. Headphones, a series of tones. Raise your hand when you hear one. 3 minutes. When she took the headphones off, she wasn't smiling anymore. Significant bilateral hearing loss, she said quietly. The pattern looks progressive. It was probably there when you were very young. I sat completely still. 11 years of punishment. 11 years of being called lazy, careless, a disappointment. 11 years of watching my father look at me like a problem he couldn't explain. And it was never attitude. It was never effort. It was something a single appointment could have caught the year I was 6. I sat in my car in that parking lot for almost an hour. That night, Dad called to ask how the appointment went. I watched his name on my phone screen and thought about every dinner where he'd sighed at me like I was broken on purpose. Every time he said, your sister doesn't have this problem. Every birthday where he told the story about how I never listened and the whole table laughed. I let it ring. I'm still deciding whether to call him back. Part of me believes he never knew. Part of me thinks that is exactly what he'll say. And I'm no longer sure I have enough left in me to sit across from him and figure out which is true.